Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Betty and Diana Master. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good.
It's a bit chilly today.
Bit chilly, a lot chilly.
A lot chilly.
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
like the ancestors denied our spring request.
Seems like it indeed. It really
we'll
does.
We'll try again next week.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. All right, let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. 26 people die in Nigeria boat accident. Magudumana denied bail as she left South Africa and was able to cross 3 borders without a passport. And in Gabon, water access remains difficult for population. We'll also be bringing you news from Zambia with Mike Sichula a little later on in the show. Stick around, we'll be right back with our top stories right after this.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
We start off with the northern tip of Africa, Nigeria, as at least 26 people died in Nigeria's northern Niger state after a wooden boat they were traveling in capsized in a dam on Sunday. The vessel was carrying over 100 passengers, including women and children who live in communities between Jeba and Kainji Dam in Mokwa area of the state before it hit a reservoir. More than 30 people have been rescued. A combined rescue operation by marine police and local divers in collaboration with Niger State Emergency Management Agency is ongoing. Bologi Ibrahim, the spokesperson to the state governor, said the cause of the accident is not yet known. Mr. Ibrahim, however, blamed overcrowding and a lack of life jackets.
Now moving over to South Africa, Magudumana denied bail as she left South Africa and was able to cross 3 borders without a passport. The magistrate in the criminal trial of Dr. Nandipa Magudumana has denied her bail, stating that granting you bail will enable you to facilitate another escape. Magudumana, who was alleged to have helped in the prison escape her boyfriend, rapist and murderer Thabo Bester, was caught with him in Tanzania. She faces charges of fraud, corruption, violating a corpse, defeating the ends of justice and aiding and abetting a prisoner escape from prison. She and Bester allegedly enlisted the help of prison officials to help in his escape. During her bail application, Magudumana claimed that Bester had threatened her and taken her to Tanzania against her will. However, on Monday in the Bloemfontein Magistrates Court, Magistrate Estelle de Lang said Magudumana was the central player in facilitating Bester's escape from the G4S run Mangaung Correctional Facility last May. She denied her bail, saying Magudumana could assist with another escape for Bester if she was out of prison.
Let's talk water in Gabon, as numerous residents of Gabon must travel long distances to access a standpipe in the hopes of filling a few jerry cans with water. Surprisingly, Gabon possesses abundant water resources estimated at a potential 170 billion cubic meters annually. Nevertheless, the nation is sorely deficient in water treatment and distribution infrastructure. There's no reason why a country like Gabon, where there's water, should run out of water at the tap. There's a real problem. Gabon's water and energy company doesn't really take this concern to heart, explained citizen Armel Kassam. Gabonese people who are unable to travel long distances or purchase bottled mineral water often resort to using untreated water from wells or even from natural resources on the ground. Dorien Dodoma is well aware of the risks associated with coming to such places to obtain water for himself. It's a very dangerous thing for your health because during the season, germs do build up.
Now Putin stresses need for political solution in Niger. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Mali's interim leader Assimi Goïta have called for a political settlement in Niger, where President Mohamed Bazoum was ousted in July. In a phone call on Sunday, the two leaders said the Niger crisis should be resolved through political and diplomatic means, the Kremlin said in a statement. Mr. Putin and Mr. Goïta also discussed bilateral relations, including talks on anti-terror operations, the statement said. The Russian leader had in August also emphasized the need for a peaceful solution in Niger. West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS, has threatened military intervention to restore Mr. Bazoum to power. The juntas in Mali, Burkina Faso and Guinea have warned against military intervention in Niger.
Now, Spanish Football Federation President Luis Rubiales has resigned following fierce criticism for kissing Jenny Hermoso on the lips at the Women's World Cup victory ceremony. The already suspended Rubiales sent his resignation to the federation's interim president, he said in an open letter, and also explained his decision to eventually step down in a television interview. "I'm going to resign, yes, because I cannot continue my work," the 46-year-old television show Piers Morgan said on the television show Piers Morgan Uncensored. "Family and friends say to me, Luis, you need to focus on your dignity and continue your life. If not, you're going to damage people you love and the sport you love." Rubiales sparked a worldwide backlash after forcibly kissing midfielder Hermoso during the medal ceremony following Spain's World Cup triumph in Sydney on August 20. After he refused to resign, FIFA provisionally suspended him for 90 days, while Spanish public prosecutors have filed a lawsuit against him for alleged sexual assault and coercion. Stay with us as we talk to Mike Sichula in Zambia after the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Now, in a bid to woo foreign direct investment, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema has traveled to China for a 6-day state visit. Here to give us an update on the story is Mr. Mike Sichula. Good morning, Mr. Sichula.
Africa, good morning. Thank you very much, Diana. Yes, indeed, President Hichilema has traveled for a 6-day state visit to China. This is one of the visits that his critics have not condemned, because under 2 years, President Hichilema has made more than 30 international trips. And writing on his Facebook page, President Hichilema said that this is part of our continued economic diplomacy, this time to deepen cooperation between our government and that of the People's Republic of China in trade and investment. During his stay in China, he's scheduled to visit and interact with key economic players in various sectors, such as energy, infrastructure, mining, and manufacturing, among others. He is also scheduled to undertake investment and tourism promotion aimed at showcasing the beauty of Zambia and the available opportunities for joint public-private venture engagement in China. So, as you know, Zambia owes in China close to $6 billion, and the number of people in Zambia have been urging the president to use this trip to his counterpart, President Jin, so that Zambia, if they can clinch a deal to either freeze the interest or write off some debt that is the Asian nation. So this is one of the biggest trips that President Hichilema has undertaken, and is also expected to see to it that he comes back with news, especially with regard to the debt restructuring.
All right, now we understand that over 500 delegates from over 38 countries are set to converge on Zambia for the Africa Digital Government Summit. Could you tell us more about that?
Oh, yes. So this is one of also priorities areas that the government of Zambia has undertaken to ensure that they host a number of conferences in the bid to promote tourism. So in next month, Zambia will the first ever Digital Governments Africa Summit, which will attract over 500 delegates, like you've said, from 38 countries. And speaking to the media, Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama says the summit, which will be held from the 4th to 6th October, aims at promoting inclusive and resilient digital economy across the African continent. Mr. Chinyama added that the summit will also serve as a platform to dialogue and exchange ideas pertaining to digitalization, as stakeholders from different countries will include ministers, government agencies, and technology experts who are going to attend. So in terms of preparations, the Zambian government has prepared adequately. A number of promotions are going on, and also in terms of the venue, the modern Murungushi International Conference Center is expected to be able to host a huge number of people that are expected to come. And in terms of tourism, a number of people have been lined up to see to it that Zambia benefits in all fronts.
All right, now, Mr. Sishila, we understand that 13 criminals escaped from a police station. How exactly did that happen?
Well, according to the police deputy public spokesperson, Mr. Danny Mwale, who is there in the picture, he says the criminals, except from the police at Simon Mwansaka Police Station right here in Lusaka, the inmates are male, except from custody after spraying an unknown liquid in the eyes of the police officer during feeding time. Mr. Mwale says the suspects pushed the cell door against the officer and scampered in all directions. At the time of the escape, there were about 22 inmates in that police cell. Then 13 of those are the ones who escaped, and their cases range from aggravated robbery to assault. And by today, as I'm speaking to you, police have not made any arrests so far.
All right, now finally, local printing companies have not shown interest to print ballot papers for 2026's election. Could you please expand on that?
So the background to this story is that a number of electoral experts or commentators here in Zambia have been urging the government of Zambia to ensure that ballot papers for the general elections are printed locally as opposed to printing the ballot papers in Dubai, so in Abu Dhabi. So that you can see is the invite that the Electoral Commission of Zambia put out in terms of people who are willing to express bids and also pushing bids to show competence and print the ballot. But from the time that advert was put up, none of the local printers have had to express capacity to print. So this has raised concern among ECZ chairperson Mwangala Zaromis, who says the commission recently wrote to all well-known printing companies in Zambia, including government printers, with a view to access their capacity to print. But since that letter was written to them, none of the printers have come forward to say, yes, we have the capacity to print and we can do this job if we are given. So it's something, this clearly, that even the 2026 general elections, the ballot papers will definitely be printed outside the country.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sichila, for bringing us these stories from the ground in Zambia.
Thank you very much. And like I did speak to Mr. Mbele just before we went live, I think this Friday we're going to update our viewers on the governing UPND is accusing the governing ZANU-PF of Zimbabwe of trying to destabilize Zambia. So they can stay tuned on Friday as we are going to offload this information.
All right, we will be looking forward to an update. Now we'll take a look at the weather predictions for Southern Africa before we return with economic news.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
All right, let's get into our economic news stories. The Johannesburg Stock Exchange will co-host a seminar with Eskom later in September to help the power utility deal with various financing options needed to fund its crucial grid expansion program, according to Electricity Minister Kosiyentsho Ramakgopa. The minister previously said Eskom needs upwards of 210 million rand for the expansion. He said at a briefing on Sunday that aside from an $8.7 billion facility that came out from the COP26, the new development bank, known commonly as the BRICS Bank, said recently that it also had a $3 billion financing option available for Eskom.
Now, oil permits and wind crisis threaten UK net zero pledge, with the provision of a swathe of new oil and gas exploration licenses and a crisis in offshore wind energy. Clouds are gathering over the UK's net zero promises. The Conservative government of Rishi Sunak in July promised hundreds of new licenses for oil and gas exploration and production in the North Sea, arousing the anger of environmentalists. The NGO Greenpeace later covered the Prime Minister's private residence with a huge oil black tarpaulin to denounce the drilling frenzy. Any government support for continuation of fossil fuels has a negative impact on the transition because it drives investors away. Eric Dalhatian, co-founder of Aberdeen Climate Action, told AFP on the sidelines of the Offshore Europe Conference in Aberdeen, Scotland this week.
Stay with us as we head into the economic indicators just before Djokovic leads the sport.
Good evening and welcome to Sunset News.
Attachment stays in list A in the speech, rate and taxes, and how much.
After the break, we take a look at the sports.
We bring you
Economic indicators, tomorrow's weather and sports. I am Aina Raiza Kweyong.
We start off in the world of tennis, and it might be time to accept there is a new GOAT. Novak Djokovic has no intention of passing the torch to the next generation just yet. The 36-year-old Serb proving age is just a number by becoming the oldest man in the Open era to hoist the US Open trophy on Sunday. With Roger Federer retired and the oft-injured Rafa Nadal ready to call it quits after next season, the days of the big three are long gone. But Djokovic, the final member of that triumvirate, reminded fans in New York that he is far from finished. His victory over Russian Daniil Medvedev brought him not only a fourth Flushing Meadows title, but a record equaling 24th Grand Slam crown. And Djokovic once more. Djokovic swatted aside some of the United States' brightest young stars en route to the final.
Juventus owner denies press report over possible sale. The Exor holding company that owns Juventus has no plans to put the Serie A club up for sale, a spokesman said on Monday, denying a report in newspaper Il Giornale. The spokesman said in a statement that the report was groundless. Shares in Juventus, Italy's most successful soccer club, rose as much as 4.8% at the opening, but quickly trimmed those gains to be up just 0.3% by 9 a.m. GMT, broadly in line with the Milan Bourse as a whole. A spokesman for Exor said in a statement that Il Giornale's report was groundless after the newspaper reported that the holding company considered Juventus's recent financial results were no longer sustainable and it had been embarrassed by the soccer club's ongoing judicial problems. Juventus, its former chairman Andrea Agnelli, and 11 others could face trial after judges in Italy last year launched a criminal case against them over allegations of false accounting.
The Gambia came back with 2 goals down to force a 2-2 draw with Congo in the earthquake-devastated Morocco on Sunday and booked their place at next year's Africa Cup of Nations finals. Gambia needed only a draw while Congo had to win the Group G encounter, which went ahead in Marrakesh despite the powerful earthquake near the city which killed some 2,100 people. The match was being played in Morocco because Gambia have been banned from hosting international matches by the Confederation of African Football until they upgrade their stadiums, and was in doubt after Friday's 6.8 magnitude quake, which forced both teams to evacuate their hotel rooms and sleep next to their respective hotel pools. Coaches said the players had been traumatized by the effects of the powerful quake, but were told by CAF to go ahead with the game, even though Morocco's scheduled qualifier on Saturday was postponed. Stay with us as we return with the highlights from this morning's broadcast.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
You're watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, here are the news highlights. 26 people die in Nigeria boat accident. Magudumana denied bail as she left South Africa and was able to cross 3 borders without a passport. In Gabon, water access remains difficult for population. JSE teams up with Eskom to figure out grid expansion financing.
1am2.com, DSTV 285, GoTV 25 and all Namibia Media Holdings platforms is exactly where you can find us. From Diana Master and Ashwin Bedi, Soda Jaganaka.